Ladies and gentlemen, Lab After Dark is starting shortly. Lab After Dark is starting soon. Lab After Dark is starting soon.
Right.
Well, you opened that Pandora's door.
I was actually just sitting down to pee, but whatever.
What's the point in causing any ruckus
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Lab
Starts now.
After Dark. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. Good to see you. Good to be here. Please hit that like button on the way in. Would very much appreciate it. Let me take a look at who's here. Look, we got Lisa. We got Donna in the house. What's happening, Donna? Sirius, thank you for becoming a Lab After Dark member. You just opened up a whole new world of unmitigated content that you will spend hours and hours and hours going, was this worth it? Martha, thank you so much for being here as well. Pony Girl. What's happening? Cherokee. Yeah, Rod, what's happening, Rod? What's the point of causing any ruffles to be feathered? And look, we got Holly. Holly in the house. What's happening, guys? Good to see you. Good to be here. All right. Lulu. What's happening, Lulu? Good to see you. Nice to be here. Good to be here. Anyway, what do we got here? So November 11th, 2025. It is 10:03 here on the western coast of the United States. I miss you too. It's good to see you. Emmy, what's happening, Emmy? How are you? Good to see you. Barb. Sharon. Christy. What's up, Christy? Good to see you as well. Welcome in, everybody. Hope floats. Where are we at here? All right, so I had an interesting dinner tonight at Buenos Noches. Hope Grandma's doing well. She is. She's doing fine. Thank you for asking. They had a very, very interesting dinner. You know, like I think I've told you before, but you know, my nephews are hemophiliacs. If you don't know what a hemophiliac is, they are what is considered bleeders, and they have zero clotting factor, which means if they get cut, that their blood doesn't, like, they don't stop. Like, we all have a protein inside of us that when we get hurt or cut or bruised, that that what ends up happening is it clots. Oh no, is it Teresa's your birthday? But anyway, they have to take medicine to clot their blood to get them to stop. Anyway, so we have these meetings about it. And they're always sort of ran by somebody different, and it was just really weird. It was a seafood restaurant, and it smelled like a seafood restaurant, and I couldn't, like, I don't know. I have become so anti seafood. Like, I hate mercury. I hate all that shit, you know, and it's just like some fancy restaurant, you know, like sitting there. I'm like, is there anything like, I don't even want to eat the steak because it smells like fish, you know. This is my worst nightmare by far. Cooking butter chicken with jasmine rice. I could not focus. It was weird and uncomfortable. And then, since it was downtown, obviously there was like a couple homeless people and some lady that wasn't wearing shoes, and I felt really bad for her. She's like, "Do you have a cigarette?" And I was like, "I don't smoke." And then she goes, "Why?" So what do you mean why? What do you mean why? Why don't I smoke? It's because I don't want to. I don't like it. And then she said, "Did you ever smoke?" And I said, "Are you asking me if I've ever smoked a cigarette before?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I go, "Yeah, I have." And she goes, "And you didn't like it?" I go, "I don't know if I liked it or I didn't." And then she says, "Well, thank you." This is what she says. "Thank you for talking to me." I say, "Hey, it's no problem. Thank you." Right back at you. And so we talked. It was a very strange, it was like the strangest conversation. But, you know, I honestly was close to like crossing the street and then coming back around. And I was like, you know, I don't need to do that. Like, what's she going to do? Throw a shoe at me? And she didn't. And she was actually very nice and polite. I gotta say, I was a little, I was a little nervous at first, but she was very, you know, the way the conversation ended was very, you know, nice. And sometimes I get reminded, like, that as much as I don't like to be bothered about stuff, cigarettes or change or anything like that, you know, they're still human beings. Although I do give change out, which is they probably see me coming. She didn't have any shoes, so you're safe from her throwing one. That's what I thought. That's what I said. What's she going to do? Throw a shoe at me? She didn't have any shoes. She didn't have anything to throw at me. Thank God. She didn't have a cigarette to throw at me. And I'll tell you this, if I would have had a cigarette, I would have gave her one. She could have ripped that heater all day, but I just, you know, I didn't. That was more interesting to me than the dinner itself. The dinner itself was like repugnant. And, oh, we're all having fish and lobster. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't want any of that. You got a garden salad for me? That was my choice. Garden salad. My mom gave a cold Coca-Cola to a homeless man last week. He said, "Thank you, ma'am, but I'd rather have a cigarette." Look, it's one of those things where beggars obviously shouldn't be choosers. Can you imagine, like, if you're a homeless person and somebody gives you a cold Coca-Cola, you imagine how good, like, that would be. I went to a food truck one time and he's just drives me nuts. It's all right. It's all right. I had to write about him to remember how much he's beautiful and I love him. But anyway, imagine being homeless and somebody handing you a cold Coke. I would take a cold. You're right. I would take a cold Coke, Mary, from somebody random on the street, as long as it wasn't like, you know, open. I would not take an opened Coca-Cola. It would have to be sealed with the, you know, when you crank it, it's got the snap. It has to have all of that stuff. And if it doesn't, I'm not going to drink it. I mean, but anyway, so I remember going to a food truck one time, and you're speaking of cold Coca-Colas, and it was like a food truck. It was like a pizza food truck. It was really odd. Like, they made sort of what would be the equivalent to like personal pizzas. And I was like, "Oh, you must be new. I haven't seen you like on this road." And he's like, "Yeah, we weren't really like doing very good business where we were at before." And I was like, "Oh, really?" I go, "That's a shame. I hope it gets better for you." And he's like, I think it will." And then I ordered a Diet Coke. And he said, "I don't have any cold." And I said, maybe it's not the location that's the issue. Maybe it's the, the little things. The pizza was okay. It was fine. Just like a little pizza, but What am I going to do? I was going to eat it in my car. So what, I got to eat this hot ass pizza with a warm ass Coke? Not happening, G. I'm past that point in my life. I don't think I have to live like that anymore. There would have been a time where I'd be, you know what? No. I'm not gutting a pizza with a warm DC. It's not happening. Can you imagine? Like, yeah, warm Coke. Ugh. Sounds about the worst. Matter of fact, this is making me thirsty. Hold on. I don't have a Coke. But I do have a Dr. Pepper. I didn't think I should have to, but I did. But I'm not drinking it. I'm just not. I'm not going to do it. Especially when I'm paying for, a meal. Oh, God. More. Anyway, the cream soda DP zero sugar ones are good. Really? I'd be willing to drink a warm beer than a warm Coke. Yeah, I could see that. Although, Diet Dr. Pepper is good. I've tried Dr. Pepper, but it's Dr. Pepper is one of the better sodas, but Diet Dr. Pepper, and it has a pretty good amount of caffeine in it too, which is beautiful. All right, give me a second here. We'll get to where we're going. No, it's not. Dr. Pepper's got to be one of the most popular sodas around. You would think. I mean, it seems like it would be, but I don't know. How the fuck do I know? I don't know anything about soda. What's up? It is what it is. Yeah, that's the new thing. People are putting like creamer in their sodas. Somebody said to me the other day, and I'm trying to remember. It was maybe you guys know because I can't remember, but she called it a mocktail. Have you guys heard of this new phenomenon? A mocktail. I think that's what it's called. Where like it's like a Roy Rogers or a I don't know, Shirley Temple, or something like that. And basically it's like a non-alcoholic cocktail with no alcohol is how it was described to me. And I was just like, nah, I've never heard of that before. I've never heard of a mocktail before. They have a name for everything. They have a name for everything. It is what it is. It says, I drink soda all day, every day. I really need to drink water. Yes, you do. As I take this. It's not a new phenomenon. That you're telling me that name's not new? Seems like the name is new. Maybe not though. Really? A mocktail? $10 to $15. Okay, so the term mocktail was first used in 1916. Okay, everybody's wrong. 1916. It's pre-World War One. Yeah, it's really new. That's really new. It's super new, actually. 1916. It was like 4 years after the Titanic when people started using it.
Wow, what a lovely mocktail this is.
10 to 15 years, Cakes Boo. Come on. 10 to 15. More like 115. 1916. We were all off. 1916. It's like before Prohibition was a thing. God. I'd never heard it before, but I haven't been around since 1916, so just forgive me. I'm also not like deep into the liquor game. So I don't know. Yeah, Prohibition was like in the 20s, I believe. I'm not, like I said, I'm not in the liquor game, so I don't really know. I don't know anything about it. Even if I was, I don't think that I would have known about a mocktail. Oh my God.
Ed Mary Fairy Fly donated $5 through Super Chat. I had a new experience this morning. Woke up to someone playing bagpipes in the woods.
I didn't even get to hear that. Sorry. I had a new experience this morning. Woke up to someone playing bagpipes in the woods. I would have thought that would have been the end. Maybe it was the same. Who is it? Gabriel coming to play, or the Archangel playing bagpipes. I would probably. It's like somebody's in the middle of the woods. Can you imagine like waking up to something like that? I would have gotten my bow and arrow, and it would have been a wrap. I'd have been like, don't ever come here. That's the conversation that I would have had with whoever that was. And I don't care if it was Moses himself. I would say, hey, shithead. First of all, it's early morning and you're playing the bagpipes. This isn't even the right country to be playing the bagpipes in the woods. You want to do that shit? Ireland would probably be better because people grow up hearing bagpipes. I don't hear bagpipes. I haven't heard a bagpipe in years. Oh, sorry, Scotland, not Ireland. I've never heard like wow. You hope they come back to the woods? Like they're in the middle of the woods? That's the most troubling part. Not that they're playing bagpipes. There's nothing wrong with bagpipes. No, it's not. I don't know, man. All right, that's enough of that. Let's see. Rod says, my Nam came from Scotland in 1905 as a tiny kid. Dude, right around the time the term mocktail came out. Not according to Cakes, but Cakes says it was 15 to 20 years ago. I say it was relatively new. 1916, not new at all. Your dogs didn't like it? Sorry. Dogs don't like bagpipes? Watched a punk piper in Freelance once. Really cool. I don't know what that means. What's that? That sounds good. Reminds me of Austin Powers. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the, like, bagpipes remind me of the Titanic. Like when they were boarding the Titanic, people were sitting out there playing bagpipes. Like you're not worried enough that you're about to sail across the mid-Atlantic in the middle of winter amongst an ice field. Yet, you know, bagpipes seem like a funeral thing. I don't know. I don't know if they are or not. They seem like they would be to me. It's true. Everything. It reminds me of that too. It reminds me of was it Braveheart? Everything reminds me. Everything reminds me of Titanic. That's true. I know, but it feels like it's a funeral thing. I wonder how hard it would be to play the bagpipe, though. A bug pipe? I don't know what that is. Queen Elizabeth? Queen Elizabeth would have people wake her up playing bagpipes? That's interesting. Like somebody would sit next to her bed and go, oh, we got to wake up the queen. See, I told you, funeral. Not just funeral, but that's what I'm saying. It's not the bagpipes itself. Look, I like any sort of music, but you know, somebody playing bagpipe in the woods would be a major problem. And yes, I have more than a bow and arrow. And the bow and arrow I have came from Big Five, and it wobbles when I shoot it. So there would be nothing that I could really do with it. But I did buy that so I could kill the turkey that never came back. And I've been seeing a lot of videos about turkeys lately. And I'm a little nervous that this is the year that son of a bitch comes back to claim what he thinks is his territory, and I'm ready for it. I got an M80 that I'm going to use as a smoke bomb, and like if I see it outside and I have time, I will have war paint, all that stuff. Hey, come on, dude. Get in bed. Go on. Come on. Otis, get in bed. Somebody want a dog? No, I have more. I'm good. I'm good. One day I'll watch Titanic maybe, but it looks long and boring. Well, how could it be boring? I mean, you already know the ending to it. Right? So I don't know. I mean, maybe it is boring. I like it. Bagpipes. It's not a blessing. It's not a blessing because this particular turkey, I believe, is of the devil. And I say that with the utmost respect to turkeys, but this thing, you've never seen it. At first, I thought it was a velociraptor, to be completely fair with you. I thought that, a genetic experiment went wrong and there was this enormous velociraptor. It turned out to be a turkey, but from what I gather from experts, that turkeys are just as vicious as velociraptors, or at least in my experience. And I'm the expert that said that. I think that they're terrible. I think that they're up to no good. And I think that they would kill you if they could. Let's see. They don't react. They do nothing. Ever. They do nothing. My daughter's watched Titanic so many times, she can recite every scene. I probably could too. You think that the raptor? Yeah, probably. I don't know. It was vicious. The closer we get to, because it was right around Thanksgiving, and it's been a couple of years, but I know for a fact that bitch is coming back. I know it. I know because of the confrontation that we had. It was an MFer for sure. It was like one of the worst experiences of my life, besides getting stung by bees. Other than that might have been like physically. I've been sick before. I've had flus. I've had, I don't know, all kinds of different ailments, I guess. And then I think the turkey attack, the bee wasp attack, and I'm trying to think. Those were two really bad ones. Yeah, I would have no problem putting those things down. In 1 second, I would just be like, you know what? You're not allowed to be here anymore. It's over for you, brother. I'll check it out, Rod. Post him to me. I'll have him. You want who? Otis? He's so weird though, Rod, when it comes to stuff, because like he likes people, but only if every time he like goes up to somebody, he's always turning around. He makes sure that I'm right there. And then he's drooling and everybody goes, "Oh my God, he's drooling." And I go, "Yeah, he's a dog." Like, "Why does he drool?" And I'm like, "Because he's had some medical issues and like part of his face got paralyzed from an infection and he drools because of it. Didn't really drool before." And they're like, "Wow, well, how do you fix it?" I said, "How do I fix what? Fix drooling? I don't know. I don't think you can. It's just how it is. You can't feel it, which is unfortunate." Yeah, he's just so far up with me all the time. But I don't know why. I mean, I know why. I think he likes me, so. Yeah, they're good dogs. Yeah, and the thing is, like, and some people, like, you can tell, like, the people that don't like dogs because they're like, "Oh my God, he's drooling on me." I'm just like, all right, well, then just stay away from him. Like, they get him riled up, and then he gets excited because he likes to play. And then they, like, throw a fucking, like, a crate, like, they go, "Oh my God, he's drooling on me, he's drooling on me." So. Yes, I did see the Aurora. What is it? The Aurora Borealis. That is that what it is? The Borealis of Aurora. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I've never seen those colors before. Very very beautiful. Um, let's see here. All right, I was gonna play this really like while we're starting here because I'm becoming more and more curious about this. So I believe it's Celeste and David, the Tesla death investigation. I'm really hoping that there's some sort of clarity here because I just don't. It's weird. Is SF on here? Oh my God, he's back. Oh, this is gonna be good. All right. Okay, wait. White boy and Steven, get ready. We're gonna hurt some feelings with your dumbass friend.
Has the Los Angeles Police Department just confirmed that Celeste Rivas Hernandez wasn't killed? Their latest statement has all of us guessing at what potential criminal liability anyone may face here after her body was found in a car registered to singer David. We are bringing back on Steve Fisher, the private investigator who is looking.
God, how horrible. By the way, please hit the like button if you have not.
Into aspects of this case on the ground in Los Angeles. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime.
Okay, so it's
I'm
not
Jesse
the
Weber.
Borealis. Okay. All right, I'm sorry. Got it. Southern Lights. You have my utmost apologies. I don't know what she did. Who knows? I know she didn't put herself in that trunk.
As you're watching this, have you ever wondered how we're able to share so many clips from all of these stories so quickly? I'll give you a secret. If you're in the
really.
Pro/Sidebar, David has been named a suspect or person of interest. And there have been no arrests. No one, including David, has been named a suspect or person of interest. What is happening right now? Because the LAPD has confirmed with KTLA that it's
Queen of Hearts, it's the Southern Lights, not the Northern. I was mistaken myself.
prior news release, quote, stands on its own. What does that mean? Well, if you go back to that prior news release, essentially the message being sent is there is currently no crime other than concealment of a body that may have occurred. There is no case being sent over to the LA County District Attorney's Office for potential review or potential prosecution. And one of the reasons that announcement has been made was because the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner has not yet determined.
There hasn't been a cause of death. What are they going to send over? This is bullshit. Oh my God.
A manner or cause of Celeste's death. But should I say, as of now, right? Could this change? Does that mean they have no evidence right
So salacious.
now that someone actually killed Celeste, caused her death, that there's no homicide charges on the table right now? Was it accidental? Someone freaked out, tried to dispose or conceal her body afterwards? Or is this basically a statement they're not going to find any evidence that someone killed her, right? I want to get into what this means and what may be going on behind the scenes with someone who is on the ground in LA, someone who is investigating what may have happened to Celeste. I'm talking about Steve Fisher, a missing persons private investigator who is hired by...
That photo of him?
Talking about Steve Fisher, a missing person...
That photo of him is too good. That's some funny shit.
private investigator who is hired by the owner of the property that David was staying at in LA. Now remember, this property was nearby where that Tesla was found. And as you may recall, the owner wants some more information about what role his house, his property, may have played in this, if any. And you may also remember, if you've been following us here on Sidebar, that we have interviewed Steve before. And when it came to what may have been found at that house, the house that David moved out of, that was searched by authorities.
Let me just run this by you really quick. Look, if nobody killed her and somebody provided her with drugs to where she had an overdose and died, and then put her in the trunk, that's a crime. That's a crime. That's a crime. I mean, it's not even up for debate, is it? I wouldn't think so.
Here's what Steve said to us on a previous episode.
But I will say this, there are some things that, and I'm talking.
You guys, I found Waldo.
Physical evidence that was at that house that is, there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her, and it's scary, sadistic stuff. And that's why we're trying to learn more about that. I wish I could say more, but for obvious reasons I can't. But
the obvious reasons is because you don't know anymore.
Doesn't have to do with how she died, but maybe how they were planning on ultimately getting rid of her, and how maybe that Tesla was just a holding spot at time, and things just, their timing was just off as far as getting this done. But there's a few things that were just like, will blow your mind.
And Steve joins us now. Steve, good to see you again. I'm really happy to have you. I mean, you've been...
Oh, God, there's the shirt.
...on the ground there. You're investigating this. Let's start here. The big news. When the LAPD confirms with KTLA that it's prior...
Do you think that Crabtree watched this and watched like a Zoom presentation of it with White Boy, and then I love Steve. He's so smart. Oh my God, he can tie his shoes. He doesn't have to have Velcro, in his belt. Like, he's got belt loops, with hooks. He doesn't have to. It's all no Velcro. He doesn't use any Velcro at all. Oh my God, he's so smart. He's so smart. He wears the Velcro-less shoes.
News release.
Nobody drove him to school in high school wearing a hockey mask.
Stands on its own. Does that signify to you, hey, listen, we have no evidence that Celeste Rivas Hernandez was killed, that homicide charges are not warranted here, that that's our final conclusion? Or is that saying we don't have evidence at this point?
So I think what it's saying is that they're still relying on what's going to come back from the medical examiner's office, since there's not a determination there, at least publicly. Now, are they in contact with the medical examiner? Absolutely. But listen, I don't think that's unintentional. They've been so tight-lipped. I think there has to be something to read into that. That, again, I think the purpose of the initial release was to, get everybody possibly prepared that this isn't a homicide. And now they're saying we still don't have anything that shows that it is. But there's other, listen, a crime definitely occurred. And they even say that at least concealment of the body. But there's other crimes I hope they're investigating, such as the relationship. I understand it's a tough case to make because she's not around anymore. She can't testify, but it doesn't mean because it's hard, it shouldn't be, pursued.
I'm going to talk about what potential charges could be here in a second, but just going back to this, they have to be in contact with the LA County Medical Examiner. Does that mean that right now the LA County Medical Examiner is like, I need more information. I don't know.
Jesse Weber knows this stuff. I mean, he knows why they haven't charged anybody with a homicide yet, is because they don't have the manner of death. It's not complicated.
Have a conclusion yet. Last time you and I were speaking, you said it's possible that the LA County Medical Examiner may be releasing the cause and manner of death of Celeste soon, because you were looking at the website and it was showing that they were reviewing cases. There was a backlog and maybe Celeste is going to come up. Does it signify to you, yeah, we spoke to them, there's nothing to determine that she was killed by anyone, which could raise questions about how she died? Or is this a situation where, they again, yeah, they spoke to them. Yeah, it's possible Celeste was killed, but we're just not revealing that at this point in time.
Yeah, so the LA County Medical Examiner's Office has their own in-house investigators also. And in fact,
Yeah, I don't know, but it goes out to hundreds of thousands of people. It's weird.
they publicly say on the site who the investigator on the case is. So I'm sure they're working with robbery homicide. And, it may be a case that, let's say they did get a good toxicology result back, but it's not an overdose. Now it throws it back into, okay, so then you got really limited options. It's either homicide or, if she took her own life. Then they'd really have to dig in because
how about you just figure out what happened?
if it wasn't glaringly obvious from the initial autopsy, in other words, if there's not a gunshot wound.
I highly doubt that she did something that hurt herself and then post-mortem put herself in the trunk of a car. There were other people there. So talk to the other people that were there. So they're not going to say anything? Okay, well.
Or something like that.
Then I would just assume that foul play happened.
Then, they're going to have to maybe get forensic anthropologists involved that specialize in trying to make these determinations on severely decomposed bodies, which can take a while. And they might be consulting with outside pathologists to see if they got it, to get comfortable with a possible determination. But something, like you said, I've been tracking those other cases and they've come back with toxicology now. In fact, she's the only one of 6 deaths on September 8th that doesn't have a cause and manner. And, so it's a little bit, it's concerning, but which way it goes is hard to tell because they could have, needed additional testing.
Because you thought by this point we might have had a release. You thought by this point we might have more information.
If they got a good toxicology, let's say it came back and it was clearly an overdose of some sort, whether somebody administered that or she took it herself and it was an accident is a different thing. The cause would be, a rogue manner would be whether it was self-administered or administered by someone else. I would think that there would have been some sort of indication by now, and that could be then initial charges could be dropped. I don't know why initial charges couldn't be dropped now, even if they have the stack on top of them, because I know that they'll probably say, well, he's cooperating. But how much, if it's been 2 months and you haven't gotten the answer yet, is he really cooperating? So, it means he's probably not. He's probably, the counsel's telling him not to. And what's the difference if he's Mirandized or not, now?
And to be clear about something, okay? If they come back and they say, listen, there's no evidence to support that Celeste was killed, right? There's no evidence to support homicide charges, manslaughter, murder, anything like that. Is that consistent with what you're seeing in your private investigation? Are you hearing or seeing something different? Would you be surprised if that's the ultimate conclusion?
I'll just be honest. We really don't know. Nobody has stepped forward, even, wanting to be anonymous off the record and said, listen, I know what happened. So it's very bizarre that there's this many people involved that have stayed this quiet for this long, especially like when they're young. And it's like they're all lawyered up, to be honest with you. And I don't know if that's because maybe he's providing counsel to all of them, but there's no leaks coming out. And that's kind of bizarre with this many people involved, younger people that kind of want to save themselves and they're blowing their careers up. So it seems like there's something that they're trying to protect, but I don't know what it is yet.
And I just have to be clear once again, right? There's a lot of online speculation. There's a lot that we're looking into. We're looking at every report that's come out. To be clear, okay, David Anthony Burke has not been officially implicated in any crime, any wrongdoing. He's not been charged.
I think California is the most heavily populated state, and they have an extreme amount of caseload, but I mean, they don't have to start the clock on it. They just need to keep investigating until they can prove something. And, if they can't prove something, then the case doesn't go forward. I mean, it's simple as that. You can't force evidence. I mean, you can, but it never works out really. But it's not even worth the embarrassment in court. So you can have all of these ideas and thoughts, but you don't know. If you don't have evidence, you can't do anything. But guess what you can do? And I don't know if they're waiting to do this yet, but if they have evidence that there was an inappropriate relationship between them. They should lock his ass up and threaten him, put him on a sex offender registry, charge him with all of it. Give it, if he doesn't want to, and you know, maybe it's like, hey, maybe we can make a deal here, buddy. What do you want to do? You want to do 15 to life, or you want to do, 30 to life? Or do you want to be a registered sex offender the rest of your life? Because that's sort of what it seems like the angle that I would go with is I would charge him for something else, especially if he's not cooperating. Then you say, hey, well, then we're gonna try you for this other crime that's gonna ruin your life because it needs to happen.
He's not been named a suspect, not a person
You can't be 21 years old dating a 13 or 14-year-old.
of interest. Obviously, his connection is through the car and these reports that he had some sort of relationship with Celeste, which I'll dive into a little bit more. But Steve, I was looking into this, right? And unless I'm wrong, if someone just moved Celeste's body, possibly under California law, that may be just a misdemeanor. There's a law that says every person who, having knowledge of an accidental death, actively conceals or attempts to conceal that death shall be guilty of a misdemeanor, punishable by imprisonment in a county jail for not more than 1 year, or by a fine of not less than $1,000 nor more than $10,000, or by both that fine and imprisonment. And for purposes of this section, to actively conceal an accidental death means any of the following: to perform an overt act that conceals the body or directly impedes the ability of authorities or family members to discover the body, to directly destroy or suppress evidence of the actual physical body of the deceased, including but not limited to bodily fluids or tissues, to destroy or suppress the actual physical instrumentality of death, right, what caused the death. And I also saw that there was this health and safety code section under California law that says a person who willfully mutilates remains known to be human without authority of law is guilty.
I mean, I agree with you, Banana. But at the same time, what is a 20, 21-year-old running around with a 13-year-old a 13 or 14-year-old that's run away from home? I mean, obviously, yeah, it's like, I have a feeling, and I don't know this for a fact, but I just have a feel, that maybe Celeste was 13 or 14 going on 21, where I don't know, maybe that's just how her life was at the time. And it's really, it's incredibly sad that there are adults that would take advantage of that.
Of a felony. I'm just not sure if we've seen convictions on that for something like this, given this fact pattern. But the reason people are talking about this law now, and now
Celeste should be at home, or should have been at home, going to bed, going to school, doing homework, playing volleyball or whatever.
Is because if we are coming to the conclusion that this really may be it, am I wrong? Is that really what we might be looking at?
Everybody wants to talk about, obviously, that she passed away and that she died. Everybody wants to talk about that, and I understand that. There's more than one crime going on here, folks.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. And, I've brought this up for a while now, that you can willfully conceal and suppress evidence and destroy evidence to hide it from investigators and family and everybody else, and it's still a misdemeanor. And let's just be real about it. None of these people appear to, or in initial orbit, have a record. So they're not going to get up to a year in county jail. They're going to get probation if they're charged. So it's tremendous. Now, it shifts to a felony when you mutilate a body. Now, and of course, we've heard these reports since the beginning of her being dismembered. I do not believe that. I believe it was disinterculation, that's a natural process of the connective tissues degrading and the bones, falling apart. I don't have any evidence that she was dismembered, so I don't think that's the case.
Okay.
But if it is, then that would go to a felony. That would be a totally different thing. But you suppress this evidence. You can hide her.
Okay, so pretty sure the last time we heard this, that Steve Fisher said that she was dismembered. Now he's saying he doesn't know. He's backtracking. Okay, fair enough. Fucked up again.
In a trunk from investigators and destroy evidence. And it's a misdemeanor in California.
And to be clear, maybe that's what the additional testing is, to try to see what signs her body shows of being manipulated in some way or mutilated in some way. I hate to talk so cavalier about this, but from a legal point of view, this is the cold, hard facts. This is what investigations look like. Although I will tell you, if we're saying, okay, how did she die then? And I know that there's been a conversation, well, let's say for argument's sake, and this is purely speculation, if you're talking about drugs being involved, is the LAPD saying that this is not a drug-related death, or that someone wouldn't be responsible for it? Because you would think it is possible, we've seen it before, someone could be charged with an overdose. Someone could be charged with drug offenses, even in severe cases. If they provide drugs that result in an overdose, you could look at, let's say, involuntary manslaughter. Someone could be brought up on charges of distributing those drugs, providing those drugs.
Isn't that what's happening in the Matthew Perry case right now? I mean, aren't they rounding up all the chemists and all the dealers? I mean, haven't they arrested quite a few people?
To a minor, if they're not saying that at that point, right? I mean, that could be because there's no evidence of that, or maybe it's they're saying, the LAPD, we don't even want to mention drugs. We don't even want to mention drugs at this point. What do you think's going on there?
Yeah, it could be. So, listen, this is a high-profile case, and let's look at other high-profile cases that's similar to this. Mac Miller, Matthew Perry. Both times people charged with providing him the drugs, they overdosed.
Hey, Long Crime, you want to have me on?
So maybe there is a drug element to this investigation going on that we don't know about. Because when they confirmed, basically, they're standing on that statement a couple days ago. I know that I saw a headline saying, they've confirmed that it's not a murder, not homicide. That's not what they said. They said they're just standing on their previous statement. So it got a little spun out of control, I think, and that's going to happen when it does.
Luke here with the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel, and
I don't care, Luke. God dang you.
There is a drug element to this investigation going on that we don't know about. Because when they confirmed, basically, they're standing on that statement a couple days ago. I know that I saw a headline saying, they've confirmed that it's not a murder, not homicide. That's not what they said. They said they're just standing on their previous statement. So it got a little spun out of control, I think, and that's going to happen when this goes on 2 months, right? But maybe there's a drug investigation. Maybe they're trying to figure out how those got to her, and it's going to be a Mac Miller or Matthew Perry type of situation where they are going to go after, whoever provided them.
And without naming names, from your investigation into that house, can you say at this point whether drugs were ever found at that house or connected to that house?
So I can tell you that there was prescription narcotic medication, opiate, painkillers that were found, but they were prescribed. And so we don't know if they were ever used recreationally or not. Painkillers. So
he's been working on his interview. Like, listen to it. You watch a lot of Outdoor Boys, do you? I do.
I can tell you that there was prescription.
Watch this. Watch.
Narcotic medication, opiate, painkillers that were found, but they were prescribed.
But they were prescribed. Why do you talk like that? Why does he talk like that?
Prescription narcotic medication, opiate, painkillers that were found, but they were prescribed.
They were prescribed.
And so we don't know if they were ever used recreationally or not. There was some paraphernalia there, but listen, I mean,
somebody found anal wart cream in my bedroom, but it was prescribed.
Marijuana is legal in California, and it's something that you could use for that. You could also use it for illicit drugs. We don't know what they were being used for. I've seen some pictures of Celeste where she doesn't look sober. I'll just be honest with you. She looks like she's definitely not sober. And I've talked to people in Lake Elsinore that said when she came back after that time that law enforcement brought her back, that she was, quote unquote, strung out. And so I don't know. And I hate to say that about a minor because I don't have proof of it. I'm just telling you.
I hate this shit so much. Like that she's a child, and she looks older than she is because I don't know why, but it was the same thing. I remember seeing that last photo of Maddie Soto's, sort of the same thing. You just look like life had already gotten to her, and you could just, in her eyes, you could just see, I don't know, you could see something. I don't know what it was. I don't know what I could see, but I saw something, and I kind of feel the same way about this young lady.
What I've been told, but if that's indeed the case, then hopefully there's a drug element going, a investigation going on that we don't know about. They're just being very tight-lipped. But listen, it's been a while now,
No, look, a lot of people care about Celeste. They're worried. They're thinking about what happened here. They're invested in this case, family, friends, just people who are constantly following it from the beginning. And I wanted to ask you what you learned more about Celeste so far in your investigation, because we covered this extensively, that there was, and you mentioned this, there was reporting about her running away from home, footage of her walking away.
My sister was one of those who was a lot more self-aware of the world because of what had happened and what happened to her as well. My sister is obviously a victim of what happened to our family, and she bore the brunt of it a lot of the time. So.
Way on a street in Lake Elsinore, footage of her potentially fighting with people
Rod.
in her neighborhood, reporting particularly from TMZ that Celeste may have been in some sort
I don't know why they're not talking about that angle.
of relationship with David, those around them saying that they thought she was 19. What else have you learned about Celeste Rivas Hernandez that we should know?
Wait a minute.
You could, reporting particularly from TMZ that Celeste may have been in some sort of relationship with David, those around them saying that they thought she was 19. What else have you learned about Celeste Rivas Hernandez that we should know?
Well, I mean, listen, I'm 100% convinced personally that there was a relationship going on. I think, you don't have to have a tape of a sex act going on in order to prove that. But it also showed that, listen, she had a lot of freedom at a very young age. Now there's photos of her at a concert in Vegas when she was 13 years old, at a concert that he was playing at. Of course, the other stuff we've already talked about, which is her at that high school graduation.
Yeah, and typically when you see sort of I get exactly what you're saying. It's sort of that glare, that glaze, I've seen pictures of people like that, very famous ones, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the photo of the man that was, it said on his helmet, I think it was World War II, it said "War is hell." And if you look into his eyes, you just see like an entire story. And then, even some of these photos with her, and then you have, Maddie Soto as well. These sort of, glassy eyed, and it is a window to the soul. And when the windows seem tattered, you know that the soul is going through it. I mean, that's just, I don't know. That's how I feel. I've seen pictures of my mother like that. I've seen pictures of my sister like that. I saw a picture of Tupac when he looked like that, when he was in the car with Suge and he was like, yeah, I'm probably going to die. I'm just saying that, like, there are these photos that you can look at people.
And her showing up, arguing with the neighbors. These are all during the time that she's reported as a missing person. Law enforcement should have been notified. At that graduation, I don't believe that she was the only person in her family there. I think that there was several adult family members there, and there was school police officers at that graduation. I don't know why somebody didn't say, hey, by the way, this is a missing person. And, they would go the route they normally go and make sure that she's okay and find out what's going on. But none of that happened. It seemed like she just showed up like at a family event and then went back to wherever it was she was staying. And that's concerning because she wasn't in school and there wasn't these controls and that are there for a reason.
Have you tried reaching out to Celeste's family and friends? Have they been responsive at all? I mean, what can you tell us?
I reached out to two of them that I don't speak Spanish myself. So I didn't reach out directly to the mom because I heard that she only speaks.
No comprende. Well, he's a really good PI to hire. What a PI. I don't speak Spanish. ¿Quién es tu papi? Poquito trabajo, mucho dinero. I don't speak Spanish.
But I did reach out to two others, and I have not heard back.
I reached out to the English-speaking ones.
Them, but I'm not going to press it with them because I do have a limited scope in this investigation. I'm not there investigating side by side with LAPD. I'm there for the homeowner and finding out what happened in or around the house and the cars that were at the house. So I'm not going to press that. But no, I tried and I've not heard back. If they're, if they're watching this, I'd love to talk to them. I'm not. I just want to,
I know. I'm serious. Like how he doesn't even speak a little bit of Spanish. I mean, you might want to add that in to your repertoire, maybe a little bit. I mean, you're in Southern California, not just California, Southern California. Southern California. No comprende?
Learn, what happened.
And by the way, just going back to something you had mentioned since the first time that we spoke about this, that there was this surveillance footage, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can't identify.
Yes, Apple has a translator app. And, so we go, oh, yo, mano, tenemos mensaje contesta ahorita mismo. And then SF would be like, I think he's guilty.
But you seem to know who moved that Tesla, right? Who operated that Tesla. When we say there's no arrest here, when we are talking about the fact, yeah, there's been no arrest, no person of interest, no suspect. Again, at this point of time, because it's been some time since you and I first talked about that, are you surprised? No arrest there of that person?
Yeah, I am, because I can understand maybe a month or 6 weeks ago, because if they're saying, hey, listen, they're cooperating with us right now, there's no reason to jam them up and then have their lawyers say, listen, you went ahead and arrested, so now we're not cooperating, we're not talking. But even if they're saying that's still the case, 2 months, if they haven't told you the whole story now in 2 months, then is that cooperating? I don't believe it is. So I think there's initial charges you could start with.
Well, there we go. See?
And they're just misdemeanor charges. So it's not like the person would even, what's going on with bond in California right now. I mean, the person would probably get on their own recognizance, so.
And now
he had to use the recognizance word. He had to. And then he did the big sniff. I want people to know, hey, I know the word recognizance.
I'm not saying that
the person, what's going on with bond in California right now. I mean, the person would probably get on their own recognizance, so.
And now I'm not saying that would change the investigation.
My favorite.
So.
And now I'm not saying that would change the investigation analysis, but sometimes we've seen before in cases where somebody
get on their own recognizance, so.
And now I'm not saying that would change the investigation analysis, but sometimes we've seen before in cases where somebody, when they are charged, they sometimes provide more information to law enforcement. Sometimes it can lead to a further search warrant where you can get more information. So when someone is charged even with a lower level offense, that could ultimately lead to something else. But by the way, have you spoken to LAPD? Have they given you any indication what's going on?
Yeah, I've spoken to them a couple times to give them information, but they haven't offered anything back.
I mean, honestly, we've heard this one before. Now, I'm not saying I think he's being honest here. Not giving anything
which I
back.
didn't expect anyways, but.
But by the way, that could.
I still say he's holding in gas. Oh my God. I don't know. I just don't like the guy. I don't know why. I mean, I guess I do know why, but still. Hold on here. I don't think it's a secret. He's holding gas. Oh my God, that's funny. It's disgusting. Over the rainbow, way up high. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, whatever. Stupid. Rod says SF is a wiener.
Ultimately lead to something else. But by the way, have you spoken to LAPD? Have they given you any indication what's going on?
Yeah, I've spoken to them a couple times to give them information, but they haven't offered anything back, which I didn't expect anyways. But it's only been to give them information.
Are they concerned about your parallel investigation or no?
We haven't even had that conversation, but if I had to guess, I would say they don't like it for sure. There's never a situation where they particularly like somebody I'm very much information based. I don't believe in this totally tight to the vest type of investigation. I think that pressure really brings people forward and stuff. And that's why I think something like an arrest, because if you're a person that gets arrested for moving that vehicle, for participating in a concealment of a body, and you feel like now you're the only one that's been arrested, and you feel like you're taking the hit for this when you only did one part of it, you're probably going to talk. You're to investigate, say, okay, this person also did this.
Like, look at her eyes, and I'm you know, they're alleging that she was on drugs and things like that. I don't know if any of that's true. I don't know, but just look at her. First of all, she's a child. She's a little kid. She's an actual child. You know, I would consider her a little kid. Especially he met her when she was 11, 12 or 13, but you're just a preteen. You're not a full blown teenager. You're still a kid. Even at 4, I would say 14 is probably on the lower end of your actual teenage years, but 11 to 13 is not. And she looks like a little kid. And they need to arrest him for dating her, because he should not have, if she was listed as a runaway, then she shouldn't have been with any adult without law enforcement knowing about it.
And I think it's a way to bring answers out. I don't think that they love that I'm involved, but it's just, I am. And that's the way it is right now.
So they don't like, no shit. Really? They don't like, hold on, I got to open the window. They don't like that he's involved. That's a shocker. I would have thought, honestly, that, Macho, get up in bed. I would have thought that they would have really liked him being involved. He seems like he brings a whole lot to the, get up there now, to the investigation. It's awesome. I don't know why they wouldn't want the help. Maybe there's somebody that they're looking for that he can tweet about and say that they've been found when they haven't been found. And then maybe somebody will confess to something that they did or didn't do. Just a thought. Sorry, I was across the room. That's good cold water, I gotta tell you. He doesn't know he has no idea what he's talking about. Nah, he's not ready for a hello. He's not ready for that. Let's listen to that last bit of rubbish. But I am, and that's just the long and short of it, bro. I'm SF Investigates.
Investigation or no?
We haven't even had that conversation, but if I had to guess, I would say they don't like it for sure. There's never a situation where they particularly like somebody I'm very much information based. I don't believe in this totally tight to the vest type of investigation. I think that pressure really brings people forward. And
I got to tell you that I sort of agree with him on here. I kind of do, depending on the case, depending on what information, but I wouldn't trust him to know.
Stuff. That's why I think something like an arrest, because if you're a person that gets arrested for moving that vehicle, for participating in a concealment of a body, and you feel like now you're the only one that's been arrested, and you feel like you're taking the hit for this when you only did one part of it, you're probably going to talk. You're to investigate, say, okay, this person also did this, and I think it's a way to bring answers out. I don't think that they love that I'm involved, but it's just I am, and that's the way it is right now.
Before I let you go, Steve, one final point. Have you spoken to anyone in David's camp? Do you know where he is at this point?
No, I know that early on, it seemed like he was in California because when he transferred that property in Texas.
I don't know. He could be in California. Okay, first of all, he's from California. Second of all, that's where he was living. Third of all, what a guess. Holy shit. Get this. You want some SF, will you please join us for a GeoGuessr stream?
It had the notary seal was a California notary. So it appeared that when he signed those documents, he had come back to
I don't know, man. Those piercings look like they hurt.
California, at least for a while. I have no idea if he's still here or where he is. And I've spoken to some people that are like one step removed from the initial player.
You know, I'm actually, and I agree with you, Cakes, but that was tough because when it was said, and I heard it from like 3 or 4 different YouTube channels, none of them I trust. But, you know, when more than one starts talking about it, you start to kind of go, oh no. And I just had this image, and I won't go into the image, but it was the image of Emmanuel being found. And it was kind of nauseating. Not kind of, I mean, it is, to be honest with you. You know, you have 4 in your temple. Do they hurt?
But I haven't talked to any of the main people I would like to.
And by the way, your client, the owner of this property, how are they feeling at this point?
I mean, they want answers. I mean, I could see how it would be disturbing to.
Now, Mountain Mama, I'm going to correct you here because this is something that I've really been trying to spread awareness about. I get exactly what you're saying, but he doesn't remind you of Frankenstein. He reminds you of Frankenstein's monster. Frankenstein was the doctor. It was a mistake I made for years. Victor Frankenstein is the monster has no name, unfortunately, but I know exactly what you meant. Yes, AKA like a thumb.
Decide if you want to live in that house right now or not while this is going on. Did somebody lose their life in there or not lose their life in there, especially a 14-year-old at the time? So, you know, they want answers and they want to know what's going on. And especially since he wasn't even the person that signed the lease and this is all, you know, news to him.
It looks like Fred Flintstone too. You know what I like about this water? I'm not going to advertise for them. It's not the taste, not the crispness. It's the bottle. And not the size of the bottle, not any of that. What it is, it's got a wide mouth. And they actually go on here as to say, maybe it doesn't say on this one. It was a good selling point. Bottle. They say it's got a wide mouth lid. It's very chuggable. That's the point. So if you're trying to get your water in.
It was David's manager, right, who was on the lease. But have they tried to, you know, rent out the property again, or sell the property?
You know, I know that they were doing some repairs on
Frankenstein movie. If you've watched the new Frankenstein movie, please put a 1 in the chat. I'd like to know who you are. Don't put a 2. Inevitably, somebody's going to put a 2 in the chat. All you got to do is put a 1. That's it. No 2s in the chat. No 2s. Not 1, 2. None. Just a 1 if you've seen it. Don't lie and don't put a 2. Whatever you do, if you've seen it, whatever you do, don't put a 2 to tell me that you haven't seen it. Don't put a 2 and say, hey, I haven't seen it. No 2s in the chat, just 1s. 1s if you've seen it. 2, don't do it. No twos at all. None. I end the show with 1-2 in the chat. It's over. You're holding out, no spoilers. -1 is a 2. -1. Maybe do it. -2. We only drink Fiji water in our shed. Iowa. I'm just waiting for somebody. Thank you, Macho. Wow. From my own people. Not even some rando bushwatcher. My own people. I didn't want to see it, but now I do because of your review. Thank you. It's good. I mean, if you're not into the story, no, you cannot see Macho. Not after your friends just got out of line. But like Jerry Lynn, I have to end the show now. I have to, because then people won't take me at my word. Good night, Donna. Thank you for being here. Yeah, my own people. The people that show up and watch. I can't not end the show now. Am I cold? No. Why? Why would I be cold? I'm curious about that. Those kind of questions freak me out. Are you cold? I am now that you mention it. I wasn't. I was told I was fine. Now I'm cold. I'm not wearing a hoodie. I'm freezing now. Man. But I'm not, like, I don't, what do you mean my hoodie? What do you mean? Get in bed. Get in bed. Get in bed. Get in bed. Hey. Get in bed. Go. Go, go, go. Come here. Let's see. Come here. Come here, bub. No, I'm cold now. No, I'm cold. I'm cold. No, I'm cold. Freezing, actually, now that you mention it. Let it flow over you. Just let what flow over me? Oh, your chair looked like a hoodie. My bad. Just like, can you imagine? That's not going to happen either. No, yeah, no hoodie. I mean, I think this does have a hoodie, but I'm not wearing it. It's like a really thin. Anyway, okay. That being said, thank you guys for being here at Lab After Dark. I can bail. What do you mean bail? Been here for an hour and a half. Bail. Plus, 3 or 4 people put 2s in the chat. You know how it is. Come on. You guys can, you got to know.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lab After Dark is starting shortly.
Guys, have a good night. I'll see you later. Thank you for being here.
Lab After Dark is starting soon. Lab After Dark is starting soon.
Well, you open that Pandora's door.
I was actually just sitting down to feed, but whatever, you know.